Ripartiamo con la terza giornata dei nostri incontri qui a Xilexpo 2022 e la Biennale Internazionale delle Macchine e le Tecnologie per la lavorazione del legno e l'industria del mobile.
We're going to officially open today's activities together with the Ministry of Economic Development, which will address a very interesting topic, which is patents and trademarks, which is fundamental here. So in a short time, we're going to establish a connection with Michele Mille in Rome, who is going to tell us about some very interesting novelties, and then we're going to talk about wood frames for doors and windows. Later in the day, we're going to focus on EASY, that's a communication protocol, which is being studied and developed to enable woodworking machines to speak to each other. I'm not going to present all the events scheduled for today, but I'd like to remind you of something specifically. Today at 5 o'clock, we're going to hold the award ceremony of XIA Awards. Today, the jury has been working over the past few days and has come to a decision to select the company that it's presenting the most interesting products in the 5 categories that we have selected for today. So solid woodworking, panels, and finishing. And for this year's edition, we have also added an award for digitalization, innovation, and sustainability. Now let me introduce the first speaker of today's list. We have Michele with us. He is going to to link with us online from Rome. Good morning, Michele. From the General Direction for the Preservation and Safeguard of Intellectual Property from the Ministry of the Economic Development. The weather in Rome is lovely today in Rome. I'll give you the floor. Good morning, everyone. My name is Michele Mille, as I was rightly introduced. I work at Division 5 of the General Directorate for the Safeguard of Industrial Property as part of the Ministry of the Economic Development. Today, I'd like to talk about databases of UIBM. Databases are very helpful for companies in the wood industry and woodworking machine manufacturers and other kinds of wood industry players. Hopefully you can all see my presentation, my slides. Here it is. Yes, Michele, we can all look at it very well. So before introducing you to the databases of UIBM, which can be helpful for the woodworking industry or wood industry entrepreneurs, I would first like to give you some background information about UIBM. So what is the mission of this organization? What is the mission of the General Director, which is part of the Ministry for Economic Development in Italy? So the General Director for the Safeguard of Industrial Intellectual Property works to fight counterfeiting. So we deal with anything that has to do with intellectual industrial property, and we try to prevent objects and products to be counterfeited. And we do this in cooperation with Guardia di Finanza, with police forces, and our directorate also supports innovation, businesses, and competitiveness in the entrepreneurial community. So we provide help through databases. And how do we help? how can we support companies that want to increase their level of competitiveness in their reference industries, or companies that want to get established in a specific business line or in a specific product area. So how do we do all this? We have our own means and tools. And before talking about databases, which is the focus of today's presentation, I'd like to share with you what a citizen working for the woodworking industry, or what any businessman or entrepreneur can find in our databases. So there are four main databases that we have available, and they present us with the largest number of applications and the four databases that raise the highest interest, not just in Italy but also international. I have listed these four databases, so patents for inventions, utility models, brands, trademarks, designs and models. So whoever works in the woodworking industry, or anybody that is interested in the related industries, may find it worth to consult with these databases. These databases are updated daily. You can compare yourself with the other companies. A company may lodge a patent application, a patent with our database to get more visible in the market, to get known, to have something that is unique, and also to present themselves not just in Italy but also internationally in terms of uniqueness of the company. So my recommendation to all woodworking industry players is to consult these databases regularly on a daily basis as an effort to improve their own competitiveness. Let's now focus on these individual databases, so patents for inventions. So these patents are defined in Article 45, and inventions in any area of technology and that are new and that imply an activity and that are prone to being industrially applied, they may constitute a patent. So time a business player has invented something new, something innovative, with a technical content, and he or she wants to protect it from being copied, or they want to become known as the one and only producer of that invention, well, they can apply for a patent at the Industrial Association and obtain ownership on the invention. The patent will then be published in the databases and can be made available to everybody. So what is the aim of publishing a patent in a database? On the one hand, the other companies may consult databases and find out what the state-of-the-art of technique presents, and they may also exploit it by making agreements with the company. Very often, the patents are lodged by private citizens who have no economic resources to market a piece of machinery or an object that has been invented. And so they do need a company or a business, even a small one, that can then produce industrially the invention. So this is one of the four advantages and functions that the UIBM offers. So you can study into it and you can explore it. The other extremely important service that we offer in our databases is utility models. It's defined in Article 82 in the Code of Industrial Property. This means that utility models are to be interpreted as invention of a machine that modify and change the utilization of the machine itself with something that is innovative. And this change, this modification can then be applied industrially across various areas. It could be the woodworking area or metalworking industry. Utility models are also available in our databases, and companies deposit them in our databases or record them in our databases for different purposes. On the one hand, because they want to show what companies are actually utilizing, and on the other hand, because they can lead to commercial agreements to exploit utility models with other companies. Or utility models may be submitted by private citizens who do not have the economic strength to publicize these products, and so they would like a small or medium-sized enterprise or some other stakeholders to market the utility model. So this database is also very helpful and useful. The other big chapter that we can offer, and which is very helpful to the business world, is trademarks. Trademarks are defined in Article 7 of the Code of Industrial Property. It could be names, persons, designs, letters, which uniquely distinguish one product or service. Maybe some companies do not have their own trademark, but why is it useful to look at a database of trademarks in the woodworking industry? So it is useful, it is helpful in order to see whether certain trademarks can be more or less appealing in the market. Some trademarks are characteristic of a certain product. They make it unique, and they also help disseminating the product by a certain trademark. Through a trademark, it is easier to reach the highest number of clients, customers. This is not something that only involves the Italian market, but we also have several other trademarks from different origins in our database. So whoever works in the woodworking industry should often browse through the database of trademarks. And I'm going to talk to you about our last database, which is one of the most relevant ones, designs and models. They are defined in Article 31 of the Code of Industrial Property. They can be represented. They can be represented by designs and models, defining the appearance of the product, of a part of it, and the characteristics of their lines, of their contours, colors, shape, forms, or surface structure. Basically, you can produce objects that are unique in terms of design, in terms of shape, in terms of color, in terms of contour and profile, and these features characterize your product by making it unique, and through this database you can see what other companies are doing, what kind of products they have designed, but you can also invent new designs, new models, new shapes and forms for your products. And this may then be used to disseminate your product through the market, and they may raise the appealing strength and power of your products in the market. And once again, the woodworking industry players might find great benefit in consulting this database too. So let's now really focus on the details of the UIBM databases, which is the main topic assigned to me. I have described the 4 big chapters that drive the organization of the databases, and then how can you look for these 4 big chapters in our databases. So the strategies to manage industrial property assets can obtain a competitive edge by consulting databases. So the ultimate aim is to increase the competitiveness in the market, both because you're able to look at what the competitors are doing, and as well as companies working in the same industry. And then they also offer the opportunity to make agreements, to stipulate contracts, to produce designs, models, patterns by competitors. So this is what you can find and look for in the database.
The UIBM data bank, which is the largest data bank we manage, you can read the web address on the slide. So this data bank has been active since 1989 and makes available all information about inventions, utility models, trademarks, designs and models, and other patent rights that have been claimed in Italy. So actually, talking about the woodworking industry or the wood industry, you should focus on the 4 rights, the exclusive rights that I mentioned earlier. This is how you can have access to the data bank. So if you go online to that link, iubm.gov.it/bancadati, this is the screen you end up on, and it's quite simple and quite complete at the same time. So you have home, research, document services, statistical services, utility. And the first thing you have to do when you're looking for these rights, patent rights in the data bank, you have to use the research function. There are like statistical services can be interesting, but the fundamental thing is to go on the research, in the research section, and you can research by document text. You can, if you know the patent claim number, you can search it by number, or you can search by text. So you can write the exact phrase, the exact sentence, the right words. It also works by individual words. So for instance, you want to search for wood paneling machine or wood cutting machine or carting or wood. You can mix and match the various words you're looking for, and you have the different patent rights. You can, and everything you find here is patents, patents for invention, utility models, trademarks, designs and models. Of course, you also find industrial intellectual property rights. So you can find basically everything here. And once you end up on this screen, so it's a drop-down menu, and you can search for the specific industrial property right you're looking for. For instance, if you click on designs and models, this is designs and models by combination of criteria. Here you have three different types of search. So it's and or the exact phrase. So you can do and wood and machine, or cutting and machine, or you can use and or if you have instead. So again, either or, you can use the word and or the word and, or, like woodworking, wood and working and machine, or wood or working or machine. So once you do this kind of search, this is what you end up with when you're looking, with wood. A keyword is wood. So this applies to everything we talked about: utility models, patents for invention, trademarks, designs and models. So on the right, you have the titles. Of course, you have the word wood, legno, which is bold print. So you have the different types, like ecologic handbag made of wood with detachable handle, or you have models for furniture complements made of wood, and so on and so forth, or wood sculpture in the form of an egg-shaped wood sculpture. So again, here you can contact us. There's the elective domicile, the actual email address and physical address of whoever has claimed the trademark, the patent, the utility models. Of course, for different uses, you can look for the owner of the industrial property right you're looking for a number of reasons: for making commercial agreements, for your own interest, for getting more information. Depends on your company, on your own interests. So this is an example. So the designs and models, for example, here we have wood-crafted items. So again, we have the purse made of wood, or we have this kind of stool or small desk, or you can there can be different numbers and types of items that you can search for specific characteristics, or you can make your own and make it peculiar for your own company, so you can make your name in the market. This is the purpose of these data banks, to show exactly what is available. These are another two objects, items made of wood, with carved wood. It's small tables, coffee tables, and again, the peculiar shapes that can be very useful or can be marketed. These are other coffee tables that are of some peculiar shapes, forms, different types of carvings. The other thing I wanted to show you, with the same type of search, if we don't select designs and models, and we look for inventions or trademarks, like in this case, let's look for inventions. Right in wood, we do get a number of items. The first is method for positioning clamping devices for wood components or similar, or machine for processing wooden pieces and similar. So this is the different types of items, and there's a whole list going on endlessly. And as part of the questions you can ask the system, like wood machinery, on the right you can find the documentation pertaining to the claim that has been deposited, submitted. So you have the patent. So this is general information. And you have the date, and the contact information if you want to ask for commercial information, or if the claim was granted more than 20 years ago, of course the claim becomes free and any company can reproduce it. But you have all the dates here, but it takes at least 20, it's always at least 20 years. But you can see here when the patent was granted to see if it is expired. Or another reason for searching this patent database, specifically for wood and wood machinery, because if you have innovative ideas that you want to produce, you can actually file a claim for a patent for industrial property rights, for a trademark, for instance, a special machine that only your company has for processing wood. So you can, in this case, it becomes an invention, and then you can file the claim for your patent for invention, and then you can produce your new machinery yourself, or you can sell the patent to somebody else. This applies to everything. Utility models is actually just a small niche. It's an exclusive right that is granted only in terms of having an innovation on an innovation that is already existing, and you can use your own innovation on something that is already existing for your own small piece of innovation, so it's very limited. So here, the data bank actually contains all the documents and all the information you may need in order to know what's around, what's already available, what you can do. And I would also like to show you briefly that besides the Italian data bank managed by the Ministry's Patent and Trademarks Office, there are additional data banks managed at a European level. Here is where we do have some collaborations with these international bodies. So it's not, these apply to not just Italian market, but European market. These are more purpose specific. The first one is ESPASnet. It's the European Patent Office. It's only patents, 312 million patents, but it's only patents. But if you're interested, or if you want to know about a patent which is covered at a European level, that's quite useful. Another data bank is TMView, that's specific for trademarks, again, a European data bank with which we do collaborate. So it's all European trademarks. Then DesignView is designs and models, and Patris is a data bank developed in connection with the Italian university system. So these are the website addresses. So ESPASnet is worldwide.espasnet.com. As I said, is more than 110 million patents are gathered in this data bank, and it's only patents. You can find publications about patents. It translates automatically patents into Italian if they are not already available in, of course, it's all European countries, so you have different languages. You can see the evolution of the patent process, so previous patents, and you can find solutions for technical problems. It can also be useful for you, because whoever works in the woodworking industry may have an idea, an innovation that can improve something that is already available in the data bank. So something that can be useful to improve the commercial assets or the machines, the products. So SBusNet is, again, only patents. TMView is available at this website address. tmdn.org/tmdsview web. So you can just search it. We're also here on site, available in the hall at the fairground, so you can pay a visit to our booth to get additional information. And here we get data about designs and models registered with the UIBM, and they're all integrated into this design view data bank. So it's all designs and models. So it's a European Union Office for Intellectual Property. Another data bank that I wanted to talk about is Patteries, which is actually a repository connecting Italian research centers. Again, here you can find inventions, utility models, patents concerning the woodworking industry, or the wood industry in general. And this is also very useful to have a look at. And finally, actually, I wanted to tell you all this information. If you were not able to take notes, we are here on the fairgrounds. We have a booth. Phone number is 394 Italy, then 3316705891. Website iubm.gov.it. And here you actually find all the information you need to look up for a patent, or information on how to file a claim for a patent, for industrial property rights, for utility models, for anything. So please have a look at this website. It's quite interesting. The email address, if you were not able to if you want to have specific information, you can write to iubminfire@mise.gov.it. So this is the email address. And we are in booth 24P, so if you want to come and see us. And actually I'm done with my presentation, so asking if there are any questions. I'm here, I'm available. Thank you. Great. I actually do have a few questions, so I'm gonna fill some gaps in my ignorance. I was saying I do have a few questions, because this is a topic that I hear a lot about, and the questions I hear from companies are always quite a few. So maybe it's stupid questions, but at least I can understand you to get your website and your work known all over the place, because many of our companies, I believe, especially in the woodworking industry, do ignore the fact that there are so rich databases available, and I can only imagine that they go up, get some consultation services that in order to get an answer to their questions. So just to, because maybe they want, they might be useful to find the way to connect even with some small inventors. So first question, can anybody go online and just search the website? It's open, yes, it's totally free for everybody. All of the data banks I talked about, the UIBM data bank, but the European data banks as well, are all free. You don't even need to register online in order to log in. So it's free access. All right, so anybody can go online to the website. ask the questions and see whether the object of their interest is already existing, whether it can be improved or whatever. Yes, and then I thought I also heard you suggesting that your data bank, there's the Italian data bank, but there are additional European data banks. But is there something similar that applies worldwide, international data bank? Yes, internationally there are other the WIPO data bank. I didn't talk about it, but there is an international data bank collecting all the patents claimed in 159 countries, and it includes patents, utility models, trademarks, so it's into designs and models that are in English, but some of them do also have some machine translation tools. So, but you can search these data banks as well. We're also talking about this experience. So there are private citizens filing claims for their own patents. This is something that really struck my attention. Are there a lot of these unknown geniuses filing patent claims? And because I'm quite curious. Well, there are quite a few. And of course, the protection of intellectual property does not apply to companies or specific industries or large companies, but there are private citizens as well. And oftentimes they do have an idea, an invention, or a design or a model, but are not able to market it because there's no company supporting them, or a commercial field or a commercial structure supporting them and affording them to produce, manufacture, disseminate their invention or their design or model. There are quite a few. You find their elective domicile. So a company that is interested could actually, yes, so establish a direct contact with the private inventor. Yes. Yes, the purpose of department is to promote industrial property and promote the competitiveness amongst companies. Of course, we do not do it directly, but users can be contacted by companies, or they can go to a company and with their own inventions. Our purpose is to provide protection for all of these patents or inventions. So we provide the protection to a trademark, to an individual registering their own intellectual property so that they become the owners of these rights. The data bank is very useful because it's like free advertising. So if you have a new design and model and you don't do anything with it, nobody will ever know what you have come up with, your new design or model or invention. So with the data bank instead, it's open, so anybody can actually go online and you can disseminate your own invention, and companies can go online and see what's already there available. So if you're interested in something specific, you can do your search. Right, now, before the possibility of having access to electronic tools like data banks, how did the system work? How could you know in the past whether something was already patented? Or, well, in the past, prior to the digital world, the advent of the digital world, we had the possibility of, everything was paper-based. So people could come here at UIBM and look up all the paper-based documents, patents, designs, models, trademarks, all kind of intellectual property rights. I have to add something about this. So intellectual property rights and industrial property rights are available since 1989. And you could wonder, what about everything that was invented like 50 years ago or prior to 1989? Well, there's a kind of library that gathers all the documents, so it's all the heritage, paper-based heritage of old patents and inventions and intellectual properties. Some of these are digitalized now, but if a company is interested or anyone is interested, we would like to know what was available in the past. They can actually go. It's run by the Ministry of Cultural Heritage. Having said that, I would like to add that once a patent has expired, you no longer need to make an agreement with the patent owner, because once the patent has expired, anybody can produce or manufacture the item, the patented item. But if you're interested, maybe the patent was registered 20 or 30 years ago, and if you wanna, you can look up the data bank, but you can start manufacturing a product if the relevant patent has expired. For instance, there are designs and models that were patented like 50 years ago could actually have a new appeal on the market, because, you know, fashion comes round and round in circles. So especially when we talk about materials like wood, there could be some new interest in marketing old designs and models. Relevant patents have expired, so, but yeah, for sure, in the wood supply chain, luckily or unlikely, the phenomenon copying is quite widespread. So your task is to bring to the knowledge of the vast majority of people what is patented and what is not. So yes, that's your main point. But yes, correct. But is this sector a conflictual sector or industry? The wood industry, the woodworking industry. Are there many people that draw inspiration and then legal claims arise or agreements? Well, conflicts are the rule in all industries, including for marketing purposes, including companies from non-Italian companies that manufacture products, including wooden products, tables, chairs, that are copied from other manufacturers, and then they market their products in Italy, thinking about China, for instance. And one of the missions of UIBM is exactly to limit these conflicts, these disputes, so to reduce the number of legal claims, and we are also involved in the fight against forgery and counterfeiting. So we do have agreements in place with law enforcement officers, customs officers, to identify objects that are protected by a patent in Italy that may be imported from foreign countries. And of course they deal with it, but they do consult us so that for instance, if law enforcement officers find wooden objects that are marketed, that are imported, and they want to know if there are some patents, they do consult us and work with them so that they can stop forgery. Okay, my feeling based on our chat, and tell me if I'm wrong, after all, if companies were more aware of this instrument, this tool, and hopefully your booth is actually at the end of the corridor in front of us. So I'm inviting everybody. There's a very nice lady waiting for you to tell you nice and interesting things. But at the end of the day, there is a culture that you are supporting. These data banks are not just a collection of data, but also an opportunity for delving more into how products can be innovated or how new functions can be found for an existing product. So it's a very good work that you're doing and in your work. Thank you. Much appreciated. That's exactly our mission. That's why we are available for anybody who wants to contact us. The previous slide had all our contact details, phone number, email address, website address. If you have questions, anybody can contact us. Very clear, perfect. Mr. Mille, thank you very much. It's too bad you could not be here in person in Milan, but we'll have other opportunities to meet and see you very soon.